Imagine unwrapping a piece of old parcel paper and finding inside it a pink diamond that once belonged to a French queen who was marched to the guillotine. That is exactly what happened when Christie's experts were summoned to a private European home, not knowing what they were about to see. The owner simply unwrapped the paper, and there it was. A diamond that had passed through the hands of 4 kings, 4 queens, 2 emperors, and 2 empresses, and then vanished for over 50 years. That moment tells you everything you need to know about what Christie's has really been selling for 250 years. Not gemstones, not carats and clarity grades, stories, survival. The weight of history compressed into something you could hold in the palm of your hand. Today, we are going inside the most extraordinary royal jewelry sales Christie's has ever conducted, the pieces that shattered records, the women who wore them, and the almost unbelievable journeys these jewels took to reach the auction block. Where it all began, revolution and the first royal sale. Christie's relationship with royal jewelry began almost immediately after the house opened its doors. In 1773, just 7 years after James Christie founded the auction house on Pall Mall, he personally wielded the gavel for the very first sale of British royal family jewelry. The occasion was the death of Princess Augusta of Saxe-Gotha, mother of King George III. That single sale established a precedent that would define Christie's for the next 2.5 centuries. But it was what happened just over 20 years later that truly set the tone for everything to come. In 1795, Christie's sold 65 lots from the jewel collection of Madame du Barry, the last mistress of King Louis XV of France. She had been guillotined just 2 years earlier during the Terror. Her jewelry, catalogued simply as belonging to a person deceased, raised the equivalent of over $1 million in today's money. Among the lots, 1,000 pearls. Think about that for a moment. A woman executed by revolution. Her pearls sold quietly under a single word, deceased. It was a harbinger of things to come. For the next 2 centuries, revolution, exile, and financial ruin would repeatedly push royal treasures onto the auction block, and Christie's would be there every time to receive them. The Romanov Dispersal, when an empire was sold by the pound. Nothing in Christie's history compares to what happened on March 16, 1927. The Bolsheviks, desperate for foreign currency to fund industrialization, had opened 8 trunks in the Kremlin armory. Inside, 773 imperial jewels, treasures accumulated across the reigns of Empress Elizabeth and Catherine the Great. An English antiquarian named Norman Weiss purchased approximately 9.6 kilograms of royal jewels for just £50,000, a fraction of their worth. He consigned them to Christie's London. Among the pieces was a tiara called the Beauty of Russia, crafted in 1841 by Imperial jeweler Karl Bolin for Empress Alexandra Feodorovna. It was set with 928 diamonds and 25 drop pearls. It sold for £6,000. And here is where the story turns extraordinary. That tiara passed to the 9th Duke of Marlborough around 1930. Then, and I find this almost impossible to believe, it eventually found its way into the collection of Imelda Marcos in the Philippines. When the Marcos family fled in 1986, it was confiscated by authorities. Its current whereabouts remain uncertain. 928 diamonds, 25 pearls, made for a Russian empress, last seen in Manila, vanished. The 1927 sale also included a nuptial crown studded with over 1,500 diamonds, now at the Hillwood Estate Museum in Washington, D.C., and the wheat sheaf tiara encrusted with diamonds and a 32.52-carat Leuco sapphire representing the sun. The wheat sheaf disappeared after the sale and has never resurfaced. Experts suspect it was either dismantled or sits in an unknown private collection somewhere in the world. Between 1927 and the late 1930s, the Soviets sold roughly 3/4 of all documented imperial jewels through Christie's and Sotheby's. Many were dismantled, their gems sold separately, their settings melted into ingots. It remains one of the greatest dispersals of royal treasure in history. But the most heartbreaking Romanov story involves jewels that never made it to auction at all. Tsarina Alexandra and her daughters sewed diamonds and pearls into their corsets during captivity, hoping to use them to fund an escape. During the execution at Yekaterinburg in July 1918, the hidden gems acted as crude armor, causing bullets to ricochet. The jewels were stripped from the bodies afterward. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Diamonds sewn into corsets by young women who were hoping to survive. That is what these objects carry. That is the weight behind every hammer price. The Wittelsbach diamond, a record broken and a controversy that still burns. Let's talk about a diamond with one of the most extraordinary provenances in gemological history. The Wittelsbach diamond, a 35.56 carat cushion-shaped fancy deep greyish blue, began its documented journey with King Philip IV of Spain, who gave it to his daughter as a dowry. It passed through the Habsburg emperors into the Bavarian crown, where it was set in the Crown of Bavaria in 1806. It first appeared at Christie's in December 1931, when the House of Wittelsbach, ruined by the Great Depression, offered 13 lots of Bavarian crown jewels. Bidding reached £5,400, but failed to meet the reserve. The diamond vanished from public view. It resurfaced in 1962 when a Belgian dealer rediscovered it. And then, on December 10, 2008, it returned to Christie's, London. A London billionaire jeweller named Lawrence Graf won it by telephone, bidding against 2 Russian competitors for $24.3 million. At the time, the world record for any diamond sold at auction. And then Graf did something that ignited a firestorm. He had the stone recut. From 35.56 carats down to 31.06 carats, removing 4.5 carats of history to improve its clarity and color grade. He renamed it the Wittelsbach Graf diamond. Professor Hans Ottermeyer of Berlin's Deutsches Historisches Museum compared it to the overpainting of a painting by Rembrandt. Graf was unapologetic. His response? "I decided that to create beauty is not a sin." He reportedly later sold the stone to the former Emir of Qatar for at least $80 million. 4.5 carats of history, gone. Whether that was an act of creation or destruction, I'll leave that for you to decide. Princess Margaret's Poltimore tiara, a father's heartbreak. On June 13th and 14th, 2006, Christie's London sold approximately 800 items from the private collection of Princess Margaret, who had died in February 2002. Her children consigned the pieces, primarily to pay a £3 million inheritance tax bill. Their father, Anthony Armstrong-Jones, Lord Snowdon, was reportedly devastated. According to a later documentary, he wrote to his children asking them to stop the sale. They did not. The headline lot was the Poltimore tiara, made by Garrard in 1870 for the wife of the second Baron Poltimore. Princess Margaret had purchased it at auction in 1959 for £5,500. She wore it at her wedding to Armstrong-Jones on May 6, 1960, the most glamorous royal wedding of its era. Estimated at £150,000 to £200,000, it sold for £926,400, nearly 5 times the high estimate. To a private Asian buyer. It has not been seen publicly since. The sale achieved 100% sell-through. Every single lot found a buyer, and raised a total of $25.1 million, vastly exceeding the original £2 million estimate. A Victorian bee brooch, accompanied by a handwritten note from Margaret reading, "Almost the first bit of jewellery given to Mum, given to me 10th of February 1945, sold for $61,824. A 5-row Art Deco pearl and diamond necklace worn in her famous Cecil Beaton birthday portraits brought $509,312. But the top lot was not the tiara. It was Queen Mary's diamond Riviere necklace, which reached £993,000. The emotional weight of the sale, Margaret's complicated public image as both glamorous rebel and lonely royal, created an atmosphere of intense nostalgia that drove prices far beyond what anyone had anticipated. A handwritten note, a bee brooch, a tiara worn once on a wedding day and then locked away for decades. That is what royal provenance does. It transforms an object into a memory. La Peregrina and the Prince of Wales feathers. December 2011. Christie's staged the most valuable jewellery auction ever held at that time, the collection of Elizabeth Taylor. $137.2 million across 270 lots. 100% sold, bidders from 36 countries. 2 pieces stood above everything else, and both carried deep royal provenance. La Peregrina pearl has a continuous documented history spanning nearly 500 years. This pear-shaped natural pearl, approximately 50.56 carats, was discovered in the Gulf of Panama in the mid-16th century and delivered to King Philip II of Spain, who elevated it to a crown jewel. It appears in every subsequent Spanish royal inventory, depicted in portraits by Velázquez, worn by queen after queen. When Joseph Bonaparte fled Spain after defeat in 1813, he took it with him. That is how it earned its name, La Peregrina, the Wanderer. It passed to Napoleon III, then to the Duke of Abercorn, whose wife famously lost it twice in the most rarefied settings imaginable. Once in a sofa at Windsor Castle, once during a ball at Buckingham Palace. The pearl kept falling out of its delicate setting. In January 1969, Richard Burton won it at auction for $37,000, bidding anonymously by telephone to surprise Taylor. In their suite at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Taylor was admiring the pearl when she noticed it had vanished from its chain. She found it inside the mouth of one of their Pekingese puppies, unscratched. Taylor later commissioned Cartier to create a spectacular 2-strand necklace of 56 natural pearls with diamond and ruby flame plaques to showcase La Peregrina as its centerpiece. At Christie's in 2011, estimated at $2 to $3 million, it sold for $11,842,500, setting the world record for a pearl at auction. The second deeply resonant piece was the Prince of Wales feathers brooch. 3 pavé-set diamond feathers gathered by a crown, the heraldic symbol of the Prince of Wales. Created around 1935, it was one of the first gifts Edward, Prince of Wales, gave to Wallis Simpson, a provocative declaration of his intentions. Taylor had seen Wallis wearing it at a 1967 dinner at the Waldorf Tower and was enchanted by it, partly because of its connection to Richard Burton's Welsh heritage. When the Duchess of Windsor's collection was auctioned at Sotheby's Geneva in 1987, Taylor bid by telephone from poolside in Los Angeles and won it for approximately $567,000. She reportedly outbid Prince Charles, who had wanted it for Princess Diana. When Barbara Walters asked if she felt guilty, Taylor's response was immediate: "No, I know Wallis meant me to have it." At Christie's in 2011, the brooch sold for $1,314,500, a brooch that passed from a prince to the woman he gave up his throne for, then to a Hollywood legend who outbid the next Prince of Wales to own it. The stories these objects carry are simply without parallel. The French crown jewels return. And now we return to where we began, to that moment in a private European home when Christie's experts unwrapped a piece of old parcel paper. The grand Mazarin diamond, a 19.07 carat light pink diamond from India's Golconda mines, bequeathed by Cardinal Mazarin to Louis XIV in 1661. Set in the French crown jewels, it adorned, per Christie's official catalogue, 4 kings, 4 queens, 2 emperors and 2 empresses across 225 years. Stolen during the Revolution in 1792, it was returned by a thief bartering for his life. When the French Republic sold the crown jewels in 1887, jeweller Frédéric Boucheron purchased it. It passed to a Russian royal family member, then to an anonymous European collector who lent it to the Louvre in 1962, after which it vanished. Estimated conservatively at $4 million, it sold at Christie's Geneva in November 2017 for $14.46 million, more than triple the estimate. It remains the only diamond from Mazarin's original bequest ever to return to market. 4 years later, Christie's Geneva offered Marie Antoinette's diamond bracelets, a pair featuring 112 old-cut diamonds totaling approximately 140 to 150 carats, commissioned by the Queen from her court jeweller in 1776 for 250,000 livres. Her mother, Empress Maria Theresa of Austria, famously scolded her about the extravagance. During the Revolution, Marie Antoinette smuggled them in a wooden chest to the Austrian ambassador for safekeeping. After her execution, they passed to her daughter, Marie-Thérèse, and then through the Bourbon-Parma line for over 200 years, remarkably intact, never broken up. Estimated at $2 to $4 million, they sold for $8.2 million. And then, on June 17, 2025, Christie's New York sold the Marie-Thérèse pink diamond, a 10.38 carat fancy purple-pink diamond believed to have been entrusted by Marie Antoinette to her hairdresser on the eve of her doomed flight to Varennes in 1791. The documented chain of custody begins with her daughter Marie-Thérèse. Set in a contemporary ring, it sold for $13.98 million, nearly triple its high estimate. Christie's named the diamond after Marie-Thérèse rather than Marie Antoinette because the verifiable provenance starts with the daughter. That distinction, that insistence on documented truth over romantic assumption, tells you something important about why these sales command the prices they do. The most expensive Fabergé ever sold. On December 2, 2025, Christie's London sold the Imperial winter egg, commissioned by Tsar Nicholas II as an Easter gift for his mother, Dowager Empress Maria Feodorovna, in 1913. Carved from a single block of rock crystal and engraved with frost patterns, it is encrusted with platinum snowflakes set with 4,500 rose-cut diamonds. Inside lies a surprise: a tiny platinum basket with white quartz wood anemones rising from a bed of gold moss. It was designed by Alma Peel, one of the rare female workmasters at Fabergé. After the Revolution, the egg was transferred to the Kremlin and then sold by the Soviets to a London jeweller for just £450, somewhere between 1929 and 1933. It was considered lost from 1975 to 1994. This was the third time the winter egg set a world record at Christie's. It sold for $5.6 million in 1994, for $9.6 million in 2002. And on December 2nd, 2025, £22.9 million, $30.2 million, the world auction record for any work by Fabergé. Only 7 Imperial eggs remain in private hands. This was the first to come to auction in over 23 years. A gift from a Tsar to his mother. Sold by revolutionaries for £450, lost for nearly 2 decades, and then $30 million. What strikes me most looking across 250 years of Christie's royal jewellery sales is not the hammer prices. It is how often these objects disappear into bank vaults, private collections, even the Philippines, only to resurface decades later, carrying their stories completely intact. The Wittelsbach diamond vanished for 31 years. The Grand Mazarin was lost for 55. The winter egg was missing for 19. La Peregrina spent centuries wandering between Spanish queens, a Napoleonic exile, a sofa at Windsor Castle, and a puppy's mouth in Las Vegas. As Christie's jewellery head, Rahul Kadakia, has said, to hold something that once belonged to Marie Antoinette is to hold a piece of history, deeply emotional. That is the only explanation for why a documented royal history routinely multiplies a jewel's value by 3 to 50 times its intrinsic worth. It is not the carats, it is the story encoded in the stone. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these pieces moved you the most? Was it the Romanov princesses sewing diamonds into their corsets? Marie Antoinette's bracelets, smuggled to safety in a wooden chest while she could not save herself? Or the winter egg, sold for £450 by the people who destroyed the world it was made for and then worth $30 million a century later? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you found this journey worthwhile, if these stories stayed with you, please give this video a like. It genuinely helps more people find their way here. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden histories behind the world's most extraordinary royal treasures, subscribe. There is so much more waiting to be uncovered.